Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I am sitting in Morrisville, Vermont at a campsite. You can see my Airstream right there if you happen to be watching this on YouTube. It's been kind of rainy. It's Memorial Day weekend here in the US. Um, and it's good to be with you. Happy Sunday. So, last week I read a story about I wish high school me knew anything was possible. And it was really underlying the theme of non-attachment. And this is authenticity and ambition. And some of the themes in the sharing is to be authentic requires non-attachment. Don't be attached to the past version of the self that you think you are. Don't be attached to the things that you've done in your life. You got to be able to let things go to grab the next thing. Um, and another big piece of finding your authentic self is vulnerability. So the next story I'm going to read is about being vulnerable. Um, it's also about ambition, by the way, and so some of the things that I like to think about in being ambitious is being thoughtful and being caring, and uh, there's no compromise. This isn't some finding the middle ground of authenticity and ambition. This is fully embracing yourself and achieving your greatest and wildest dreams, doing all the way on both. So there's this synergy aspect to it. So those are some of the major themes that I'll be getting into with the stories. This one that I'm going to read is really about um, being your authentic self through vulnerability. And it started when I saw myself on a Zoom sitting like this, and I saw my tattoo in the Zoom, and I thought, oh my God, everybody here is judging me. And so I dropped it off camera quickly. And then I wondered, why did I do that? What am I embarrassed about? This is the authentic me. This is me being vulnerable, showing you this tattoo. So this story, which was published in the narrative arc, which I huge thanks to Deb, the publisher of the narrative arc. That's a publication in Medium, and she really helped cultivate me to be a great writer. In fact, this essay was inspired by Deb on the Medium's draft day. This is something that I wrote for draft day. That was I don't know, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so. So, without further ado, let me get into reading this. I'm going to share screens sometimes because this piece has photos of my tattoos. I'm not going to show you the original, the feature photo because it's basically me sitting like this. So that's how it begins. So let me get going on this. It's titled "My Most Vulnerable Story is on the Back of My Hand," puzzling together a complex and special piece. I leaned forward and rested my elbow on the desk and looked into the eyes of the CEO. Methodically, I shift my gaze to the NIH program officer, the CTO, a postdoctoral researcher, a contracting officer, and a portfolio executive. Each returned my stares as I read the Zoom room. These are the moments that justify my hourly rate. Then my eyes glanced at a video reflection filling one of the Hollywood squares. I saw my hand rubbing my beard. There I was, le penseur, innocently displaying the freshly inked tattoo on the back of my hand. I swiftly dropped it off camera. Ah, this is what Nick was talking about. I met Nick at an art exhibit in downtown Raleigh a few years ago. He had a block print of a Harley Davidson motorcycle engine that caught my eye. We were in the hallway of an old warehouse that had been upcycled into individual artist studios. We walked into Nick's small space, and I went right for the engine print, pulling some bills from my pocket. He had a QR code taped to the table where he sat. Do you have cash? I said. Sure, but I don't have change. I'm unaware. I'm unsure why my response was. How about you keep the change as a down payment for a tattoo? Are you sure? I don't need to keep this, but I'd love to do a tattoo for you. Wait, what? You're a tattoo artist? Emphasizing the R. You are a tattoo artist? I will be officially soon. Nick was going through the lengthy process of getting his license. We hit it off immediately. He rides motorcycles and bicycles. We have multiple friends in common. Both of us saw King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard play at New Belgium Brewing in Asheville, yet somehow we'd never met. He's a talented printmaker and illustrator. His work surrounds me. A mural in a favorite record shop, art behind the bar at a local dive. He was the tattoo artist I've been seeking for 20 years. My first tattoo was in the early 90s, done by Diamond Ted in Janesville, Wisconsin. I found the one of a kind artist while on a 4,000-mile motorcycle journey. I'd go back to Ted for more than a decade until he retired. I hadn't sat for a new tattoo since. Tell me a story. I want to know what you're thinking. Nick and I met at Raleigh Times a few weeks later to discuss the piece. The print that pulled me in was the Harley engine displayed in his studio, and I had an idea about my best friend who moved on unexpectedly and much too soon. His siblings offered me his motorcycle, a 1994 Heritage Softail Custom with an S&S V twin. They knew it was something we collaborated on to build. I can take a picture of that engine and share it with you. The tattoo will be a tribute to John Kelly. It's important for me that the tattoo has a bird. All of my tattoos have birds. Maybe on the air filter cover? Birds of freedom. They're spirits of loved ones who walked among us. Now they fly above us. I thought about the phoenix Abby drew me after we got serious. She's a talented artist herself. I wanted a firebird tattoo at some point. I told Nick where my mind drifted before switching to yet another topic. My daughter and I have been estranged for a decade. I want something that represents her. I'm not sure what. That's a separate tattoo. I foresee us doing a lot of work together. This is all me talking to Nick. You can see the quotes if you read it, so I don't know how it comes out when I speak it. Okay, back to the story here. He asked how we came to be estranged. I told him the story, and then I moved on again, thinking out loud with the artist. I never wear my wedding ring. I'm just not into jewelry, and things in my hands bother me. While we're at it, whatever idea we do first, I'd love to get a wedding band tattoo. I won't have to remember to wear it, and I'll always know it's there. Then I proposed an idea. What do you think about incorporating the phoenix and ring together? Have the firebird inspired by Abby on my forearm. The flames can cross over the top of my hand, and then it can end at the ring. Tattoo artists often avoid doing hands. Most studios have policies against it. Nick didn't get into all that. He didn't shy away from the idea. But he did say, you want something more significant than just the flames crossing over the top of your hand. It's a prominent place. Are there any significant symbols in your life? A cross? Your zodiac sign? Not a cross. I'm a Scorpio. That could work if you have some ideas for how to fit it in. Maybe it could be a medallion. What if the phoenix is holding a bicycle chain in its claws? The Scorpio could be on the medallion hanging from the chain. Okay, I'm going to pause and share my screen because I want you to see um, this. Hopefully, this will come out here. Okay, so this is the concept that Nick shared with me. It's a bicycle chain, really cool. I ride bikes, and he has this medallion hanging off the chain, and this is the Scorpio. So this is a concept. It's not the final piece that you can see here. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Over the next few weeks, Nick drew up ideas to consider. The Phoenix was looking rad, but something wasn't quite right about the chain and medallion idea. Was a Scorpio meaningful enough? Inspiration struck when I saw a piece of art my daughter made a decade ago while in middle school. a block print of a frame that a, a block print of a flame that I framed and hung above my typewriter. It's a rare item of hers that I still possess. After the divorce, I lost nearly all my belongings. During the short time she stayed with me at my apartment before we got separated, she did this project. Seeing it sparked an idea. I initially thought the tattoo for my daughter would be a separate piece, but what if we make her art the medallion? Nick liked it, and after I texted him a photo of the print, he drew up a concept. We called it the flame piece. His initial concept had the flame piece on the medallion connected to the chain. We went back and forth on this for days. Something wasn't sitting quite right. The medallion was important for Nick to have the white space he needed, but it didn't feel right to me. He was super respectful throughout the whole design process and suggested we connect over the phone. What if the flame piece is the medallion? I'm having a hard time putting this into words. Instead of the medallion being a circle, what if the medallion were the same shape as the flame that my daughter made? My words weren't clear, but Nick puzzled them together. I'll have to figure out how to get the negative space around it. How will the flame piece attach to the chain? What if the flame piece was a link in the bicycle chain? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again because this is another concept. Then here we go. Share. Okay, so now you can see how this flame piece is a link in the bicycle chain. So cool. And that is the final design. I'm going to stop sharing again. Okay. When I saw his sketch, it was a done deal. We got it started in the summer of 2024. Overall, it took 3 full days spread over nearly 2 months to complete the tattoo. I needed to wait at least 2 weeks between each sitting to ensure the previous piece healed. On the first day, Nick did the outside of the forearm and completed the head of the phoenix near the crease of my elbow. He planned to do the flame piece on my hand and the bird's claws on my wrist during the second visit. This would leave an untouched space on my inner forearm for Nick to connect the head to the claws with a fiery wing in the third session. It was a complex tattoo that Nick envisioned corkscrewing around my arm. Okay, I've got another photo that I want to share here in the story for those of you that are watching it on YouTube. Otherwise, I'll link to the original in the show notes and you can see. But here's the art that my daughter did. And here's me holding up my hand, sort of envisioning, where is this going to go? And he had completed the first session and we hadn't started the second session yet. So this is like preparing to go to that second session. All right. Tattoos transfer well from a flat sheet of paper to a smooth, expansive skin. But what he dreamed up, the tattoo was in 3D, wrapping around my arm like the stripes on a candy cane. What you see in the page doesn't translate the same. Connecting the elbow crease to the hand needed to be done by freehand, with no paper representation able to show the whole story. And I'm going to share my screen again because go share. This is it's hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. This is all hand drawn by Nick. So this is the first session. Down here is the second session, and then this is the hand drawn stencil that Nick made for the third session. Really, really cool. Okay, back to the story. The Zoom incident irked me. Throughout the lengthy and physically painful process of getting a tattoo, I never considered the judgment some people might make about a tattoo on my hand. Oh, don't get me wrong. I knew some people judged me for my tattoos, but I never cared. At least I didn't think I cared until I dropped my hand off camera. Am I guilty? For what? No one mentioned a thing in that meeting. Over the coming days, I would get more comfortable seeing its reflection on Zoom. I'm an Italian from New Jersey. I speak with my hands. Noticing that tattoo flash across your monitor is inevitable. Schedule a meeting with me. You'll see it. My colleagues at the NIH saw it. My peers and clients saw it. The only comments I received were positive. Is that new? It's beautiful. It was refreshing, but I also wondered if I would be judged differently if I were an unknown. What if I were new? What if I were new to the team? What if I looked different? So far, there are no signs that the ink tarnished my reputation. I'm not discounting the combination of unearned privilege and the years of earned respect influencing that. Around the same time, I had an in person meeting with my attorney. It was business and pleasure. I can't afford strictly business. We had met for yoga and then walked over to a spot to grab breakfast together. He said, "That's new. What's the story?" I told him the whole drawn out tale, the part about the phoenix Abby drew for me, about the ring and the flame piece that my estranged daughter had made with block printing, and the block print that drew me to meet Nick. His art was an engine that reminded me of John Kelly, who was flying above us, flying above my daughter, for he is her godfather. When I finished talking, the attorney's plate was empty. I hadn't even picked up a fork. That's the most beautiful story about a tattoo I've ever heard, he said. From that moment, when I found myself in Le Penseur pose on Zoom, I proudly kept my hand right there, front and center, on camera. And I'm going to share my screen again here. Uh, because this here is, I took a really nice photo of my daughter's work. And I absolutely love this. Um, okay. So that's the story. I've got a few kind of notes or thoughts that I included as an afterword. Uh, Nick's vision for the Firebird forearm wrap still blows me away. It isn't easy to show in still photos. After completing the piece, he posted it on Instagram with a video, and I just want to in his Instagram post, I'm just going to read it to you. This is what Nick says: Firebird forearm wrap for Andrew. This one was a doozy, but so much fun to puzzle together. Thank you for letting me do this complex and special piece for you. Um, Man, that was a two-way street. Um, Writing the story opened my eyes. I was never ashamed of tattoos before this. And why did my hand drop off camera? I'm ashamed of being estranged from my daughter. I'm paid well to be a trusted advisor and mentor who would take advice from a failed father. It's embarrassing. Putting this tattoo on the back of my hand is the most vulnerable thing I've ever done. Without Nick's advice to ensure a hand tattoo be a special piece, I would have never made such a good decision. I wouldn't be telling such an important story, and I wouldn't be constantly reminded of such a meaningful relationship with my daughter. Thank you, Nick. Um, and that is where I finish it. Um, I It's about vulnerability, and it's critical to be our authentic selves through vulnerability. I will. So this is the tattoo. I'm gonna take my watch off here and just kind of show how it corkscrews. It's like not connected here, and it corkscrews like that. It's it's really hard to show. Um, Thank you so much for being with me today, for listening, for watching, for reading. I appreciate you. Health, happiness, kindness, respect for every being, for all things, everywhere. Um, Namaste.